Hey guys, it's your girl Londyn, and today I'm bringing you my favorite fall palette. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified of all my new videos. And if for whatever reason you haven't already, head on over to Instagram, go ahead and follow me at Gingerbread so you can see what other things I do with my life besides do YouTube videos. So if you think that this is the type of video you want to see, because you're interested in what I think are some really fantastic fall palettes, then just stay tuned because we're getting ready to fall right into it. Corn, 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 corn. Guys, I am feeling like I am the queen of corn when it comes to intros lately. And I'm kind of okay with it. I'm kind of here for it. I'm kind of not mad at it. I think fall really brings that out in me, the kind of fun, childlike youthfulness. So very excited. So this video is the palettes from my collection that I think are perfect for fall. Now please understand, I have a collection of about 300 palettes. So I don't just have 5 palettes that I think are perfect for fall. I think I might have like 20 that I chose. For me, fall means greens. That's hunter greens, mid-tone greens, even some lighter greens. It means burnt oranges, some reds, some burgundies, and variations of browns. It can even mean a couple of purples, some very deep purples, because sometimes as things are turning from like that burgundy to brown, they can almost have a hue of a purple. So for me, that is what fall means. For other people, fall may mean something different, and that's okay. And I think that you don't necessarily have to just wear these palettes in the fall. But I decided, I really wanted to go through my collection and see what palettes, when I look at them, just scream fall. The same way some palettes just scream summer or just scream neutral. These just scream fall to me. So, the first one I have is from Natasha Denona, and this is her mini gold palette. This is what it looks like. I think that this is a gorgeous palette. I think that this is kind of a quintessential palette. It has like your pewters, your tans. It has your like light olives. It even has a, here at the end, it's like a duochrome where it has green and gold pewter shift to it. So I think that this is really just a nice palette. You even have your traditional gold in there. I think this is perfect for somebody who maybe is on the fence about greens, maybe is on the fence about kind of a bolder eye look, but really wants to start diving into more of that color scheme. I think that this is a perfect one. And I also think that it is perfect for travel if at such time you do go traveling. The next palette I got is a recent buy of mine, and this is fantastic because I think this palette was $2.99, I believe. This is from NK Makeup, and this is called Autumn Spice. So the name right there just kind of gives it away. And to me, this is kind of that quintessential fall palette. I mean, these are your mustards, these are your oranges, these are kind of your bronzies, your browns, these are kind of like your tans. To me, this is just, if you were to have like a palette that just said quintessential fall, this right here, I think, and this is why this is called Autumn Spice. This is gorgeous. This is affordable. I have done several looks with this, and I really, really enjoy this palette. And I'm actually very shocked with how it performed because typically speaking, I don't fare well with drugstore type palettes, but this is amazing, and I really, really like it. And so I'm looking forward to continuing to get some use out of that throughout the season. The next one is from Makeup Geek, and this is just in a kind of Makeup Geek kind of palette like that. It's one that I made, and to me, again, this almost looks like the palette that I just got. I made this weeks before I bought that palette, but this is just, to me, a quintessential fall palette again, with kind of those burnt kind of browny, orangey mustards, deep browns. You even have some of kind of like your burgundies right here, even a lighter burgundy and even a little lighter pink, just to add a little bit of lightness and brightness, especially again, if you're somebody who really isn't ready to just kind of jump in and delve in to some of those really deep, rich tones for the fall. That could be a perfect transition from the summer to fall for somebody who is kind of waiting to delve into things. This to me is a perfect transition palette, and you can wear it throughout fall. This is another one that I made for Makeup Geek. This has your camel browns, your oranges, it has your mid-tone greens, and then it even has kind of like a light green, and then again here are some of these purples. So I think that this can create a really beautiful, really nice look on the eyes, and I think it's something again that could take you from summer into fall and could continue to carry you through fall into the next season. I really, really love this palette. I think it's just so pretty, and so again, looking forward to getting some usage out of that. The next one was a little unexpected because I purchased this and I've never used it, but this is the small version of the Urban Decay On the Run, and this is called G-Train. So I don't know if you guys remember these. There's a couple of them. This is the green one, and to me, again, this is kind of that, if you're looking to kind of have your staple fall colors, this is it. You have your deep green, but you have a shimmer green, you have your dark brown, you have your kind of mid-tone tan brown, you have your light color for either a base or maybe a brow bone highlight, and then you have like a deeper gold shimmer and kind of like almost like a champagne-y shimmer. So I think that this is something that is quintessential if you're looking to maybe just add a little something to your collection, but you really don't, again, aren't ready to really delve in and dive in to fall and really just embrace that. The next one I have, I think would be a bit shocking for some, but this is from Colored Rain, and this is the Beauty Rust palette. This to me is gorgeous. This is what I'm talking about when I say kind of like those berries. These are gorgeous. So these are berry tones, browns, and then some khakis. I think you can make a gorgeous fall look out of this. Several gorgeous fall looks. You can go very simplistic and then just do like a very nice waterline. I think that this shimmer looks beautiful. You could do a nice neutral look, but it still has enough of the kind of like warmth and almost like orangey burnt undertone to be fall versus a traditional just super neutral palette. So to me, this is your neutral fall palette, and I think that that's so pretty. So let's move on to the next kind of like itty bitty mini palette we have. This is the e.l.f. kind of quad. So this is the jalapeno palette. This to me is like awesome. This has your deep green, your mid-tone, your kind of light shimmer green, and then kind of that yellowy kind of green, like, you know, green, yellow, yellow, green. And I think that this will give you a gorgeous look on the eyes. You can make it go very deep and then just have something light on the lid, or you can make it be a little light and then go deep kind of, again, with using some of these as liners. So I think that this is a very nice palette. I saw this on Teresa's Dead on her channel, and this is what drew me to getting this because she had a beautiful look with it. And I think that this is, again, the quintessential staple where it's not too deep, but it is going to kind of get you into that fall mood, especially if you're somebody who doesn't really like kind of the reds, browns, and oranges, but you don't want to go too dark with hunter greens and such. I think this is a really, really nice palette to take you there, and it's only $3, so it's definitely, to me, worth getting and trying out, and I think you can definitely pair it with some other palettes that you have. The next one is one that has so much controversy, but it's Subculture. You knew that this would be here. This is the original version. This is not the reformulated Subculture. I really like Subculture. Again, to me, Subculture is quintessential. Now, I lived in Washington State for a few years, and to me, when I look at this palette, this says Washington State. This reminds me of just Seattle. If Seattle could be a palette, Subculture would be it. It's very grunge, dark, but then it has these beautiful pops of interest, like very interesting mustards, very interesting oranges, very nice kind of duochromes in the electric, has some nice shimmers here. It's very like, you think you know, but do you know? You know what I mean? This just reminds me of if a good pair of Doc Martens was a palette, Subculture would be it. And I just absolutely love it. Do you have to work with it a bit more than other palettes? Yes, but I think that it's well worth your time if you have your time to give, because I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. The next palette I have is from Morphe, which I have a few Morphe palettes, but this one spoke to me. So this is actually the Artistry palette, and this is called 18B. And this, to me, is gorgeous, again, because you have these kind of quintessential greens, but then you also have these kind of yellows. You even have some grays, and you even have this pop of blue right here. And you might at first think, that really doesn't scream fall. But I think that this is a fantastic fall palette because you can do several looks with it. Again, you can go deep, you can go light, you can go bright, but I think it's all still within the realm of fall. When I look at this, it almost looks like a forest of trees outside, kind of going from a lighter green to even kind of like a coppery color to a golden to a yellow, and even the gray when things are just starting to kind of really wither away and you're starting to move into the winter season. I think that these are beautiful, and I think that a nice teal, I think most people don't think of teal with fall, but that with some of these kind of orangey or green shades, I think that could be very beautiful on the eye. So that was a surprising one when I was going through my collection and choosing. I was like, huh, that one really spoke to me. Because again, when I went through these, I wasn't looking at them and really trying to dissect them. It literally was a feeling. I opened it, and if it felt like fall to me, I chose it. It really was just a feeling, you know what I mean? Because I feel like seasons just make you feel something, kind of like winter makes you feel something. When you see lights, they make you feel something that when you see kind of orange lights in the fall, it doesn't give you that same feeling that maybe red or green or white lights give you in the winter time. So it really was, these were very emotional palettes, I will say, for fall. The next one is the Natasha Denona, and this is the Biba palette. I really love this palette. I love this palette all the time, but I especially love it for fall because, again, here we are with our browns. Now, again, like I told you, to me, browns, kind of like these mustards, those are fall. This almost looks like the Morphe palette that we just saw because you also have some grays, a much higher price point, of course, but I think that this is kind of, again, your fall neutral palette where you're not really into the greens, you're not really into the like yellows, but you do want to have a warm look that doesn't look kind of basic neutral. You want it to be pumpkin patch without the orange. That's what this makes me feel. This makes me feel like if you took the stems of the pumpkin, not the green, but just kind of like the handle that you pick a pumpkin up by. To me, this is what I feel with this. I think that this is a very nice palette for anybody to have for fall because I think you're going to be able to get a lot of looks. And again, a lot of looks that you can also wear to work if you're an essential worker or if you're doing Zoom sessions. You can still kind of be very much so in the season, but have it be, you know, quote unquote, whatever your job finds as work appropriate. The next palette, I think is quintessential for a lot of people, and this is the Tati Beauty palette. Man, we haven't seen Tati in a while, so I almost forgot about this palette. And then I opened it up and I was like, whoa, how could you ever forget this? I mean, this row alone, gorgeous. But again, this to me is fall. This to me is kind of a twofer. This is fall, and I think this can carry you right through winter because of these kind of really icy shimmers that you have that are kind of on the blue-gray side. But I think this is just a gorgeous, beautiful fall palette. You have your burgundies, you have your mid-tone browns, kind of like your saddle colors. You have kind of your burnt oranges, and then you have your deeper browns, and then you have all the finishes. You have your champagnes. I think this is a quintessential year-round palette, but I think when I look at this, this feels fall to me. Like, this doesn't feel summer. This doesn't feel, although these can be used for like winter and like a New Year's, when I look at this, I think absolutely fall, and it makes me want to use it because it just says fall to me. The next palette I have is the Tribe palette by Juvia's Place. So this palette, again, right? Quintessential fall. We have these beautiful greens, we have these beautiful oranges, beautiful browns, and then they even added in like these really dark navy blues, which again I think can be perfect as liners to kind of amp up a look a little bit, because especially when you're doing maybe some deeper oranges and browns for fall, it can be a bit much when you're going to do like a black liner, but brown may blend in too much. So I think this kind of like really kind of deep navy, almost very, very deep green, like almost like a hunter and a navy mixed together, can really amp up the liner and really amp up the look and just give you a little something without it looking too deep, but also kind of give you that nice pop. So I think this is beautiful. And the pans are huge. So I mean, you're going to have this for falls to come, and to come. The next palette is also from Juvia's Place, and this is the Nomad. And if you don't have this, then you don't have fall. Because when I show this to you, you're going to be like, that is fall. Come on now. This is quintessential fall. This is everything that fall should be. This is the leaves starting to turn. This is the air starting to get that little crisp bite at night at like 7 o'clock, where you don't need a full hoodie, but you need something a little more than the zip up. This is just absolutely gorgeous. This to me is just like a cup of pumpkin spice coffee from the Starbucks, and just watching everything beautiful happen as things start to really change and take shape during the fall. The next palette that I have, as I'm trying to make sure my other palettes do not tip over, is also from Morphe. Again, Morphe came through once more, and this is the 15T. And this to me, again, is a nice fall palette, but to me, this is the person who, again, is not really ready to embrace fall. They don't really do a lot of the greens. So you need to have more of kind of these orangey colors. You need to have more of these kind of cool toned browns versus just the warm tone browns. I think this is a nice palette for that person who isn't quite sure that they want to do fall, but at the same time, they would like to have a pop of green. They would like to have a pop of something that kind of resembles a burnt orange or a reddish color. I think this is for them. I think that this is a very nice palette. And when I see it, I can't see anything else but fall when I see it. The next palette we have is from Melt Cosmetics, which I think that they are the fall queens. This right here is the 27? I was going to say 24/7, so weird. The 27 palette. Now, even the packaging, you know. Now, I have kind of like reds and burgundies on my eyes today, which I know, again, I said those were colors for fall, but a lot of people think you have to put green with it, but you really don't. And that is where I think this palette really shines. Now, this is not the one that I have on my eyes today, but this to me just really, really shines. This is gorgeous. This is the person who says, I don't do greens, I don't do mustard yellows, I don't do oranges, but I want to have fall. And what they want is kind of these burnt reds, brick reds, and they want to have these browns to go with it. And I absolutely love this palette. To me, this palette, again, just screams fall. This is gorgeous. To me, this is like Massachusetts in the end of October, beginning of November, where things aren't green and yellow anymore, but they're just gorgeous, gorgeous hues of red. If you've ever seen like Instagrams of Massachusetts and Vermont in late October, early November, right before things start to really all just fall off when we go into the next season, but after the greens and yellows have come and go, this is your girl. This is the palette that you'll want if in fact you're that kind of girl or guy. The next one is the Rust palette, and this also is from Melt Cosmetics. Now, for good reason, this is the exact opposite. This is a person who says, I'm not about that red life. What I want is give me those browns and give me those yellows. Give me that late September, early October fall. I want to see the glory that is golden hour in the fall. That is this palette. This is absolutely gorgeous. Love it. Love Melt's formula. Oh, Pierre Resistance. It's just beautiful. Again, from Melt, because why not? This is the 420 palette. Now, I know you'd think, why? Well, let me show you. This is gorgeous. This is the person who says, I don't like to go deep for fall. I like to stay right in that sweet spot of mid-September, where things really are just lightly changing. They're kind of, yellow-green, but nothing is really significant quite yet. You really can't tell, is it the end of summer or is it the beginning of fall? You're not really quite sure. When I see this palette says Oregon to me. When I lived in Washington, I went to Oregon frequently, and if Oregon could be a palette, this is what it would be, because this just reminds me of Oregon and just the gorgeousness that is Oregon. It's absolutely beautiful, and I think that this is a fantastic fall palette. Again, from Melt, guys, this is the Gemini palette. This is my favorite Melt palette of all time, and this probably is my first or second favorite palette that I have in my entire collection. This is, the mirror is broken because I've used it so much. This is gorgeous. To me, this is just get out of town. This is a beautiful fall palette. This is a person who is just like, you know what? Give me the grunge. I don't want subculture. I want this. I don't want to have to work too hard for it, but I want to get the look. This is kind of it. So if subculture is what Seattle or what Washington would be, then I think that this is what Seattle, the adult version, would be. So, you know, over 40 years old, still hip, still with it, you know, still loving your Doc Martens, but at the same time, you're not willing to put all that effort into getting the look. This is it right here. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is very kind of bare bones, your browns, your greens, all your hues, your finishes, and this is going to give you a great look each and every time. I have never had a bad look with this palette. I have literally traveled, when we could travel, to New York for a week, and this was the only palette that I brought, and I was able to do several looks, and they were gorgeous each and every time. So if you can get your hands on Gemini, get it, because if I could recommend any palette for Melt, it would be Gemini. The last palette that we have for Melt is going to be Smoke Sessions. So you can probably guess why I chose this one. This one is more to me an add-on for fall, simply because of the shimmer. So it has kind of the various golds, kind of deeper golds, almost like pewter, and then you have some of the kind of tealies, and then you have some of the teal and green shimmer. So to me, this is a companion palette, and this is again for somebody who maybe likes to do a neutral eye, but then just wants to give a pop of fall. Again, they're not ready to commit, but they just want a little something without looking like you have fall actually on your eyes. You know what I mean? So I think that is a very nice palette. The next palette, surprisingly, when I was going through my collection, was the Latte 2 palette by Dominique Cosmetics. Now, I love this palette in general, but for fall, I don't know that I would have chosen it if I had not gone back through and just let my emotions guide me. Why? Because it has this mint green. But then I looked at it and I said, this is a gorgeous fall palette. I mean, just look at that. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful September palette where you still have these kind of deep browns, but at the same time, we still have a little bit of, I don't know, warmth left. We're going a little bit into the yellows, but not too much, but we still want to play around with kind of the teal and the pink. The pink is heading towards a little bit of burgundy, but we're not quite there yet. The mint is heading towards a green, but we're not quite there yet. So to me, this is for the September guy or gal who is ready for fall to come, but isn't quite ready to let go of the summer quite yet. And they're really just on the cusp. They're trying to have the best of both worlds. They're living between, you know, the sea and the sky. That's what I think about with this palette. So, love that palette. It's absolutely gorgeous. I've gotten beautiful looks from that palette. The next one I have is from Dominique Cosmetics, and this is a traditional latte palette. Again, she makes great shadows. So this to me is a beautiful fall palette. Again, this is the neutral fall lovers palette, because what you have is you have some of these kind of, we're starting to get into some burnt browns, but what you also have is the purple, and you have the teal, and then you have the rest of your neutrals. Again, this is somebody who is never going to get into fall. Fall just isn't their thing. They really like spring and summer, but they're willing to do a little bit, right? They're willing to kind of say, okay, I don't want to play dodgeball, but I'll stand there and I'll just move to the side. But I'm not going to put in a whole lot of effort. That's what this palette reminds me of. But when I look at it, nonetheless, it screams fall to me, and it doesn't scream anything else. But it just screams fall of somebody who is very resistant to moving into fall. So they're going to give it a little bit, but they're not going to give it their all. The next one is from the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Vault collection. And that is going to be, let me see which one this is, Armed and Gorgeous. So that's what this looks like. And inside, again, this is just your yellows, this is your greens, your browns. This is somebody who has fully embraced fall, but again, they don't really like to do burgundies, but they definitely want to kind of have that fall motif on their eyes, and I think that this is a pretty palette. I know that there was some issues with some of the Vault palettes. This one does perform well for me, but it can be a bit patchy. I do think that you have to work with it a little bit, but I think that you can get a beautiful look out of this, and I think that this is just such a nice palette to have, especially if you want to do kind of like an orangey brown look, and then you want to have like a green waterline. I think it's a really nice palette for that. We're getting down to the end. The next one is the Too Faced Gingerbread Extra Spicy. So I know you're saying, girl, gingerbread is Christmas. We are in fall. I get it. I got it. And I do know that they have a pumpkin one out. But work with me here. The pumpkin one, although I like it and I might end up getting it just for general purposes, I think this speaks more to fall. Like, these to me are just orangey, cinnamony, smells so good. Kind of burnt oranges. You have your browns. Again, you have that pop of blue. To me, this just says fall. This to me says fall at work. This says this is always going to be work appropriate. You can pull this out. You can get your look done in 10 minutes, hop out the door, be ready for the season, throw on a mustard orange sweater with a nice little cowl neck, head out and be ready, set, ready to go. I really love this palette. I think it blends beautifully. It's very nice. I think that it does work on many skin tones. So that is also why I really like that palette. The next one was unexpected, and this was the Alamar Cosmetics palette, and I've never used this before. I got this in a BoxyCharm, but what I really liked about it was that it was like kind of non-traditional fall. So to me, very much so, this to me is fall in Florida. So I see Miami when I see this, and I think that Alamar Cosmetics might be from Florida. The brand might be based in Florida. And I think the owner may also be based in Florida. But to me, this reminds me of Miami in the fall. So you're not going to be getting 40-degree temperatures. But for Miami, you're going to be getting cooler weather. But for us, me in here in New Jersey, it would still be warm. So you kind of have your burnt oranges, you have your midtones, you have your browns. But then you still have these kind of aquatics that go with it. And just remind you that you're not in the Northeast, that you very much so are still at the beach. You very much so can still walk along the beach. And although it's still chilled, you can have a nice bonfire. So I really, really like this palette. And this to me says nothing but fall, if you ask me, in my own opinion. The next one I have is from Lime Crime, and this is the Venus 2 palette. So this to me is kind of, again, that grungy fall look, but then it has kind of this very powder blue. So when I look at this palette, I think of rebellion. I don't know. I just think of rebellion. This is very muddy, grungy. I'm not talking about a structured look. I'm not talking about a cut crease. I'm talking about I want a deep, dark eye. I want to go and I want to hang out with my friends and I want to chill and watch a movie. I want to watch Halloween and I want to just let my eyeshadow talk for me. I think that this is the guy or girl who looks like they don't put too much effort into what they're looking like or what their hair is looking like, but somehow always look like perfection. But yet it seems like if you were to put these on, you would just look like a hot mess. That's what this reminds me of. This to me is just dark, grungy, cool. If in fact dark, grungy, cool was a palette, like that to me, it is what that this is. To me, this is, what was it? Was it a Jawbreaker? I think it was Jawbreaker. This is like Rose McGowan in Jawbreaker. That's what that reminds me of. The next palette we have is the Tartelette Toasted palette. So this is a bit of a classic. And to me, this is your quintessential basic fall palette. So this is your pumpkin spice palette. This is your basic biatch fall palette. This is your, I don't want to do greens. I'm not into the yellows. I want this to be neutral, but make it pumpkin. That to me is what this is. And I love it and I'm here for it. And I think that they're beautiful shades. And I think that this definitely has a place in fall. And when I look at it, all I see is I have been cut off again by my camera. So what I was saying about the Tartelette Toasted palette was that, again, this is your quintessential kind of basic biatch fall palette. This is, you know, your basic neutral palette, but make it pumpkin. And I love it and I'm here for it. It smells very nice. And I think that this is a nice palette to get anybody for fall, because I think you can do a lot of looks with it. The last palette, I know if you've made it this far, thank you so much, again, is a Morphe Jaclyn Hill from the Vault. And this palette is the Dark Magic palette. Now, this to me is for somebody who wants those deep, grungy looks, but you want to do it more with blues and greens. You don't want to use the kind of mustards. You don't want to use the burnt oranges. You don't want to use kind of the mid-tone browns. You really want to go heavy with it, and you want to have kind of the deep blues be your anchor versus kind of the oranges and yellows. I think that this is absolutely gorgeous. I think that this is definitely a look. Like, I think when you wear this, you're making a statement. To me, this is a look that gets worn with just like a white tee or a nice white knit sweater, very chill, oversized, with a pair of medium wash ripped jeans and some like white Converse. Like, what? Like, just very clean, crisp everywhere else, and just like bam on the eye. That's what I think about with this. It's just very kind of nonchalant, very kind of blank canvas everywhere else, and then the eye just really speaks for you. That's what I think of with that. So guys, those are my fall palettes for my collection. And what I think I'm going to do, because I think November has 30 days in it. I don't remember the song from when we were in school, but I'm pretty sure it's 30 days. So for me, here in the House of Londyn, fall starts on September 1st, not the 22nd. I don't know who made that up. So from September 1st into the end of November, which I believe is the 30th, that is fall season for me. So I'm going to be using these palettes during the entire fall season. Only these, nothing else, because I really want to get my use out of these fall palettes, and what a more perfect time than in fall. So I'm going to be doing looks with these. My hope is to be able to do reviews on each one of these palettes and kind of like do a look, do a review, kind of just have some fun with the fall season. Why not? We're here. Let's get some use. I know a lot of you guys probably have a lot of these palettes, and maybe you haven't pulled them out in a long time, so we can kind of have some fun doing that together. If you're wondering what I have on my eyes today, I have, of course, Melt Cosmetics, and this is just gorgeous packaging, and this is the Vita palette. I love this, and I was thinking that this might be fall, but I just didn't feel emotionally. To be quite honest with you, I felt kind of more like really spring. But I used these red hues and these orange hues today for this look, and I do like the look that I got. I think that it's beautiful. I think that's gorgeous, but for me, it just didn't scream fall. But that is the palette I used. So I'm so excited, you know, aka Fall Fest here on the channel. So I'm excited to do reviews on these palettes, do looks with these palettes, do maybe a lot of Instagram looks. If you guys ever notice on Instagram, I usually take pictures here or against this plain wall that's in my kitchen, and that's because I have the best lighting here, and I kind of like the decor that I have here. And then in my kitchen, I have the best lighting kind of with flash to give me a photo where you can really see the shadow, because if you don't know, what you don't know is that when you put shadow on for a normal person, it can be very difficult to kind of get that to appear the same on camera unless you go in and you do like Photoshop and enhance the coloring. And I really don't like to do that because I like the shadows to kind of just appear how they are. So that's why I like to have a well-lit area in order to take my photos. And because I like this decor, a lot of my photos will either be here or they'll be in my dining room kitchen area. So sorry if you get tired of the background. I will try to take some outside also, but it is what it is. When you find the good lighting, you kind of got to stick with it. You know, sometimes we're at the mercy of the lighting. So guys, if you have any of these palettes, let me know in the comment section down below. How do you like them? If you don't have any of them, do you want to use them? Are you looking forward to any looks? Which ones maybe do you want me to start with? Let me know. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I know this was a long video, but I was very excited to do it. Give me 2 very enthusiastic thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you like this video, head over to some of my other videos. Check them out and see if there's not something else that you also want to see too, because I do have a ton of videos. I have a big catalog, and some of them are quite embarrassing because they're from quite some time ago, but nonetheless, I think you might be able to find something that you enjoy. So until next time, guys, I love you, I'll miss you, and I will see you in my next video. I love you guys. Bye.